Hey guys, Knolly Williams here once again, and this is Mentorship Masters Spotlight. I've got a very special treat for you today, and that is my main man. I call him HD, but his name is Hollis Deen. Now, let me tell you a little backstory behind Hollis before I bring him on. Hollis and I go way back to 2004. He may remember this. We did our first deal together back in 2004. At that time, he was a loan officer. Well, when he got his real estate license, he joined the Knolly team. That was about 2008 or 2009. He'll probably know better. But he ran my team. Here's what I want to get you to understand. Hollis Deen was the magic behind the Knolly team. I mean, he ran the Knolly team. And when I say he ran the team, he ran the team. He did everything. It was actually he and his wife, eventually his wife Trish joined, and then she kind of started doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. But this is the man that was with me from 2009, 10, 11, 12, and on, where we were doing 120, 130, 140, 150 deals a year. This is back when we would cap in 9 days. So if you want to meet we talk about the Wizard of Oz, you want to meet the wizard behind the curtain, it's none other than my man, Hollis Deen. What's up, Hollis?
Good afternoon, Knolly. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
Yeah. So is that a fair assessment? You were like the wizard behind it?
Yeah. Well, I didn't feel like a wizard at the time because I was the guy on the front lines. I wasn't the guy behind the curtain. That was you. Nobody could get to you.
Yeah. You were my wingman and my main filter, huh? Like nobody. I didn't talk to anybody, did I?
It was. You'd have 120 deals. How many of those people did you talk to?
I don't. Maybe. What would you say? Two or three?
Two or three.
Yeah, at the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I ran into one of the guys that we sold his house, Horatio, and he said that having me involved in the transaction would not have made it any different whatsoever. Like, he was so excited with the way the team ran, and you pretty much set that all up. I mean, was it 2008 or 9 when you joined? Do you remember?
2009.
2009. Yeah, 2009. So I'm excited.
Not a great year for a lot of agents.
What's
Not a
that?
great year in real estate for most agents.
Yep.
Out of a recession.
Well, how long would it take us to cap back then? Do you remember?
We were usually done by the end of January, if not the first weeks of February. We usually were churning 10 deals a month after the first year.
Yep.
At minimum.
Yeah. And you remember how many we had in the pipeline?
Oh, we had to have. I mean, it grew as the years went on, but at some point you'd have over 100 in the pipeline at one time.
Yeah.
To be able to maintain the full funnel.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that, Hollis. When we talk about having 100 deals going, either under contract or active, pending. Of course, this was in the short sale days, so things were very different back then. You don't have to have that kind of inventory. But nowadays, if you have an inventory of 10, 15, or 20 deals, and you keep the pipeline, the importance of the pipeline, and I would always push that on the team, and I guess my big job was out there going and getting the business, bringing the business in, But
exactly.
Yeah.
You were more like a coach at the time. To me, we would have our, Tuesday meetings of accountability, and that pretty much ingrained. Hey, what are we doing weekly to keep filling the funnel? Am I sending you enough people? It'd either be a yes or a no. I didn't talk to enough people today, or I didn't talk to enough people last week. So
yeah, it's either yeah.
Those were critical times to keep the funnel full.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm super excited because you chose to join me again here at EXP. You're part of Mentorship Masters, and I joined early 2019, and it took you about a year, right, to make the switch over?
It did. It did. I was going through some transition in my life as, taking some time away from real estate. Not really away, but we moved to a foreign country.
Tell us about
And
that. Tell us about
we
that.
moved to a country and actually starting a real estate franchise, with Keller Williams in Central America was quite an adventure that I don't think most people want to tackle.
And you were actually
But,
team leader. You were team leader, right, Hollis, at that?
correct.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big team when you're starting from scratch. It takes some time to build. So that was an exciting time. You learn a lot. You really get to know yourself as a trainer and as a coach during that process. So that's kind of what led me when I came back, when we moved back to the States, to looking into a more, I got to say, I've done a lot of pro bono training and coaching over the years. I mean, it's what the real estate industry is kind of built upon, is a lot of free information and free support for your fellow agents within the industry. And I think that's pretty critical because most of us don't grow up and go to college to be a real estate agent. We kind of fall backwards into it or stumble into it, or somebody invites us into it. And here we got this whole new job of, helping others buy and sell property. And it takes all of us pulling together to make one another successful. And once you've hitched your wagon to a successful person like yourself, which I did, I immediately knew I didn't want to. I needed a learning curve there. So it just kind of snowballed from there. And I just think now I've done a lot of things in real estate to get to the point to where now I'd like to really venture out into looking at helping others through the coaching.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about the coaching piece because that's what I'm super excited about is the fact that you are our very first coach at Quantum 10X in terms of our first real estate coach, and I can't think of a better coach to have than the one that actually ran my business. Because a lot of people come to me, they're like, Knolly, we want you to coach one-on-one. Well, number one, I don't have the time for it. Number two, I'm too expensive for most people, and so I'm super excited to partner with you because you're the one that knows all the back end of how I operate and how to create all this success for a company. Plus, let's talk about this. So you talked about the college angle. I mean, you went and got your bachelor's degree. You went through that. Your dad was a realtor, right? Your dad was a real estate agent?
He was really a computer programmer, but at the end of his career in that, he transitioned into being a real estate agent as his basically second career.
So let's talk about your foray into the real estate industry. With it started with lending, right?
Correct. So I got into the mortgage business out of leaving corporate America. I had a really good friend of mine introduced me to the loan business and commission-based income and how that dynamic goes with whether you have financial trouble or not, and how you get from point A to point B in a totally 100% commission-based business. So, in moving from a salaried position to I don't know how much I'm going to make next month, but it was really good timing. When I got into the mortgage business, it was a refinance boom, similar to what's going on right now. Rates dropped, and everybody was looking at doing it. And I transitioned into that. Eventually, that ran into partnering with other individuals to actually open our own mortgage company and run our own brokerage, and hiring our own loan officers, expanding the team. So that was a huge focus, and kind of what brought our focus was on helping realtors we'd like the refinance business, but we really wanted to partner with agents like you who are successful to help them complete their transactions. Where in a refinance boom, the agents were well underserved by the mortgage business because they could pick up the phone and call anybody and get a refinance, but nobody was calling the agents to say, hey, let me help you with your buyers. So that was, I kind of took to that side because I knew the refinance business would probably taper off eventually. Everybody would be through that, and you needed to have those partners in real estate. So that was what really drove me to seek out people like you who are on the ground getting the deals done. So then the market crashed, right? So the mortgage industry really went through a bad spell in 2008. We were giving loans that probably we shouldn't have been at the time, and a lot of those loans started coming back as Wall Street crashed and all these banks went under. At that time, it became really difficult for people to get loans, and all of my loan officers were fleeing to go get regular paying jobs where they could support their family, and you're just sitting here holding, well, I can't, not a whole lot to do when all the loan products dried up, or a lot of them for a period of time. So I started looking for an alternative at that point of how I could continue within the industry that I'd grown to love and participate in. And so immediately I said, well, I should call Knolly and just see how this real estate gig's going over there, and maybe he needs some help. Maybe he wants to go do some other things, and I can come in there and provide some support, fill a need here or there. And so that was, it just started with one phone call, one conversation. 2 weeks later, I had my real estate license. I mean, having the background in the mortgage industry was really simple to get a real estate license at the time. So I quickly licensed and started working with you. So that was still during a struggling economy, but people needed homes. Austin was booming, was growing. Prices were lower, much lower then, and we provided a system to help people get out from under a struggling mortgage situation and onto a new path. And most agents didn't want to handle that. So we were very good at helping them and their clients reach a successful sale of a property that was more of a burden than the American dream at the time. So, but it was a good decision to partner with you.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe, Hollis, that was 11 years ago. Very difficult to believe that. I remember, actually remember where I was when you called me and told me you were getting your real estate license and if I had any openings on the team. I was going on a flyover. I was driving, and I was kind of in my vehicle going on this flyover, and I was like, man, Hollis is getting his real estate license. I thought it was really cool. And you probably don't remember this story, but a couple of months after I brought you on the team, you started kind of taking over and helping organize and like manage everything. A couple months later, I wanted to go on a cruise. And I don't know if you remember that, or was it, no, I went to a cruise or to Hawaii. No, I was on a cruise. I think it was a cruise. Yeah, it was a cruise. And you and I were not going to be, I flew to Florida and I took the cruise on Princess Cruise Line from Florida for 10 days. And I was like, man, I am not going to be able to talk to Hollis for 10 days. And I was like, man, is he going to be able to handle it? Like, he's going to have 100 questions for me by the time I get back. And I remember back then, it was very difficult to make calls from the cruise ship. Not difficult, but expensive. And I've always been, tight with my pennies. And plus, I just wanted to have fun. So I remember after the 10 days was over, we flew back into Florida. I got into the airport and I said, I dreaded calling you because I had not talked to you for even 10 seconds over 10 days. And you were kind of just 90 days into the position, if you will. And you were my operations manager. So I want to make that clear. You ran the business. And I called and I said, okay, Hollis, you picked up. I said, Hollis, I'm back on the ground. Just let me know what's hot, man. I got your back. I'll help you. I don't know if you remember what you told me. You don't remember, do you?
I have no idea what I told you. What did I do?
So here I was, I think it was in the Orlando airport, and I'm waiting for this long list of things that man, Knolly, I can't believe you left at a critical time. We need help with this, and we need that, and this is how you respond. You were like, Knolly, I'm real busy right now. I'm kind of in the middle of something. Did you need anything? And I was like, yeah, I need to see what y'all need. I just got back in the country. What can I help with? He's like, man, you were like, man, I can't think of anything right now, but I tell you what, call me back tomorrow and let's talk about it. Let me see if there's anything. And that was it. And I was like, I hung up with you. You were real busy. I could tell you were in the middle of something. And I said, wow, that's what when I finally got a taste of what real freedom felt like. It's like, I've got a guy named Hollis Deen that's running my affairs, running my operation, and he can actually do it. Like, he doesn't need me. And that's when I felt that taste of freedom, bro, for the first time. Yeah. And
I was so deep in the weeds, I had no idea. I was just like, dude, I can't talk right now.
And then actually when we revisited the next day or two later, I mean, you pretty much handled everything, and it comes from your background. So what was your degree in again, Hollis?
It was business.
Business, yeah. So you got a business degree. You ran companies. You ran a mortgage brokerage. You ran a mortgage brokerage with a real estate team as well as part of it, with realtors there. And so you pretty much knew how to run a business. And so I think the main thing was just understanding the dynamics of how our business ran. And then you were able to just take the helm and just run it, And now that you're, a coach, offering one-on-one coaching, which every agent should have. Every agent, I tell every agent they need to have that accountability. That's why we came up with the Accountability Partner Program as sort of a bridge until the agent can get to the point where they can afford the one-on-one coaching that they need. But I hired my first coach 8 months into the business, okay? 8 months in, I had my license for 8 months when I hired my first one-on-one coach. And that was in 2004, $1,000 a month, okay? And some things don't change much. The pricing is still around the same. But guess what? You're making a lot more money now, because back then I think houses were going for about 100, 120,000. And now the average price here in Austin is triple that. So what would you say, Hollis, to those out there that are thinking about coaching? Because I know a lot of people are going to be excited that they get to coach. You have limited spots available, but they're going to get to coach with the guy that ran Knolly's real estate team when he was doing hundreds of deals a year. What would you say to somebody that's like, hey man, I'm thinking about coaching. Is it right for me? What are your thoughts around that?
Well, my thoughts on that initially revolve around within the real estate industry and the mortgage industry, you're pretty much a self-employed person. Everything you do and all of the action you do in your work directly impacts your bottom line into how much income you make. And you don't have anybody, on top of you managing what you're doing. It's all up to you. You have to do it yourself. Nobody's going to sit there and help you do it and just send you all your deals and you just have to sit there and pick them up and close them. No, you actually have to do the work. And I think the coaching part brings in, the key is the accountability. You have to be, since we don't have an operation where you have a direct manager who's saying, what are your numbers today? What are you going to do? I need you to make 10 sales this week. That's not what we have in real estate. You wake up every day and maybe your wife or your husband goes, hey, how many deals are we closing this month? But they're not really, they don't want to be your accountability person. They're probably working or handling the children or doing something else. And so I think specifically related to our industry and our business, if you don't have somebody who's in your corner holding you accountable and helping you get through the difficult times and helping you find where your weaknesses may be, and also helping you accentuate where you're really strong and focusing on those activities, you can get sideways. I mean, you can just let things slip. You can just, you get in a rut or you don't get in a rut. Maybe your business is booming and you don't have any use for you. Like, I don't need to talk to anybody about any of this stuff. But it really comes to a point to where if you want to be successful and you want to maintain a certain level of success, you're going to need some help. And if you don't have the proper people around you supporting you and encouraging to do that, it's very, very easy to go backwards or to go sideways or to just get distracted into doing other things. I think real estate can be a very cyclical business, and most agents experience the ups and downs of that business. And I think having someone else as a sounding board and accountability to keep you moving forward, to keep you focused on what your goals are, is important. Because most people don't want to look at their goals if they're struggling. They don't want, I don't want to be confronted with that. Every Tuesday when you'd call me and say, man, did you have 10 appointments? Oh, you didn't have 10 appointments. Okay, what are we going to do? How many more are we going to get? I mean, you work harder and smarter if you have somebody else that has your back, and it's really all about you. It's not about the coach. I want to be here to help, my clients, period. If it's not helpful to them, if they don't see the value in it, then you won't continue.
Yeah.
But, at the housing prices we have today, and with the price that it costs to get a coach and somebody to really help you, blow up your business,
yeah,
it's a no-brainer. It's like you're like, you got to spend this money to make this money,
It really is a no-brainer, and this is what I try to get across to so many agents, is that they look at the cost. I was talking to a guy yesterday. He says, but it's $85 a month to be, at EXP, Mentorship Masters, what have you. I said, let me ask you a question. I said, what's your average sale price? He's in the Bay Area, $600,000. I said, so you mean to tell me that by having a person like me, by having a person like Hollis Deen in your life, how many additional deals do you think you could do by having that? And he told me, he said, man, I'd probably do 20 more deals. I said, so what's 20 deals? I said, and how much do you make per deal? He said, about 20,000. I said, so you're sitting here telling me that you're going to make another 400,000 just by having me in your life, having Hollis in your life, but yet you're looking at an $85 a month expense, and this is part of this too, right, Hollis? Because we've dealt with so many agents. I mean, that was pretty much our business. Even when at the Knolly team, we dealt with a lot of agent referrals, and a lot of times agents don't really see that big picture. But what you're saying is, you talked about the pipeline first, that a lot of agents get into feast or famine because the business goes up, the business goes down. And when the business is up, they're not focusing their eye on the ball, so the business goes down again. But when our business went up, it stayed up. Remember the Knolly team? I mean, it was always up. And the way you do that is you have a coach like Hollis Deen in your life. He ran my business. He can help you with yours, I know for a fact. So talk about this feast or famine thing and getting agents out of that mindset, Hollis, the feast or famine.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of training, a lot of information that agents can gather. We all go to conferences, we take classes, we have the information. We know how to be successful. I can't tell you how many books people read and people have published, and you even have one too, on how to drive the listing side of your business and how to be successful in actually, controlling a piece of the market that helps you control your income. So we have the training. Agents have the training. The issue is they don't implement the training. You go to these classes, you get all these information, you read the books, but less than 5% of the agents are going to ever use it. They won't do anything with it. Well, if you had a coach and you tell me you just read this book on how to take 30 listings in 30 days, and that's what you want to do, well, guess what? We're going to talk about. We're not going to talk about, your trip to Hawaii and all the fun stuff you're doing. We're going to talk about what are you doing today to get to meet the goal that you have, that you've already committed yourself to doing. Because most people, a week in, they just give up. They stop doing it. So in order to prevent the waves from happening, you have to continue to keep your foot on the gas and not let up until you've met your goals and you want to stop. It's or until you've leveraged another human being to the point to where you can step away, right, and do some other things. I think the key is helping people build a business that they see as consistent and not this roller coaster. And when they get to that point, then you leverage another person with equal, or hopefully you find somebody more talented than yourself who can multiply what you're doing even more. And helping people get through that process as well, taking that next step to build a team if they want a team. So those are the keys. I think you just got to keep your foot on the gas most of the time. And agents, it's not what we're trained, it's not what we're wired to do, most of us. We take the path of least resistance 9 out of 10 times because it's just easy. It's the easier route, but it doesn't create the kind of income that you ultimately want. So the accountability piece of that is huge. Once you've worked with you've met with your coach and you've talked about what your goals are, and their number one job is to get you from where you are to your goals. And that's it. That's the total focus. Now we can go on tangents in our conversations and talk about real estate investing and flipping houses and building houses. I've done all that. I can help with those things and how to create those systems and things if agents want to do those things. But the primary focus is goal-centered, achievement. Here's what my goal is. How do I achieve it? And here's this guy who's going to help me do it.
Yeah,
and that's what we need to do, and that creates a sustainable income.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, very well put. I love the way you put that. And I'm gonna let you just kind of close any closing thoughts. But before we do that, I want to just share that when you look at when I hired my first coach, and I'm talking to you who are listening or watching. When I hired my first coach, it was a big deal. I was 8 months in the business and I did not really have the money to do it. So I went to Mr. Visa and I said, hey, Mr. Visa, now this is something that I don't teach. I don't teach people to get into debt, but I never see coaching as debt. I see coaching as an investment. See, whenever you invest in something, that means that you're putting money, maybe money you don't have, so that you can get a bigger return. And you've seen Hollis. I've already told you he's closed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of deals for me from start to finish with less than 1% input from me. So he knows how to help you succeed in your business. And if you have a person like Hollis in your corner, for example, if I didn't have Hollis, I might have been able to do 50 deals a year. But with Hollis, I was able to do 150. So just think about that for a minute. When I hired my first coach, I took that Visa card and I put $1,000 a month on that card. Now, what did it gain me back? Okay. Well, I can tell you that my coach helped me double my production, okay, which was a couple of $100,000 a year. So you mean to tell me you can spend $12,000 and get a couple $100,000 back? Yes. And that's the power of an investment. And that's the reason why, like, Hollis is a flipper. He knows how to flip houses. He knows investments. He knows all that stuff. He knows the mortgage side of the game, in and out, front and back. So he's got a broad brush of knowledge. And when you look at it from that standpoint as an investment, that's what you want to look at your coaching as. you're investing to get a 10x return. Okay, so that's what you want to look at this as. I highly recommend Hollis Deen for your coach. He only has a limited number of spots available for how many people he can bring on and coach one-on-one, because it's very time consuming, and he's busy making money, selling houses, flipping, and doing all the stuff that he does already. But he has been challenged. He's challenged himself to rise up into leadership and help more people succeed and get the $500,000-600,000 a year income that they want, like he's already achieved. So, any closing thoughts, Hollis, behind coaching, or how you can help people? And by the way, I'm ecstatic, man, that you partner with me again, that we're back in business together again in partnership. I appreciate your loyalty. I honor you, and I'm going to fully support and highly recommend that people, because there's no other person that I ever hired in my career to run my business other than you. You're the only person that's ever, well, your wife, she kind of took over after a while. She's pretty good at it too. So maybe they get 2 for 1. She's behind the scenes raising, your son and everything. But so anyway, I'll leave it up to you, Hollis, with any closing thoughts and words that you want to share.
I think you hit on a number of things that are key. You adapting the coaching so early in your career and how you did it is remarkable, because most agents who are new they don't have the ability to take that first step, or they're not able to take the risk. That they don't see it as an investment, they see it as an expense. And veteran agents who are already making the money, it really is a no-brainer at some point, depending on where you want to get. Now, if you're making $60,000 to $100,000 a year, you should double that. It should not be an issue. If you're making $300,000 or $400,000 a year and you want to take another step to the next level, or you want to, you need a hire coach either to maintain that or to get to the next level without a slip. So I think you said a lot of good things there. I appreciate the kind words you have for me. I learned a tremendous lot. I mean, when you sell a lot of houses, you see a lot of situations. So, and you were a great coach for me. And it is time that I kind of give back and help others who are like me, who want to get to a next level and want to provide want to provide for their family in a way that they may have not have ever thought about before, and what that looks like. And a lot of times that's not more work on their part. It's simply leveraging the right people and working through those systems and processes that you may or may not have in place. But getting that true accountability for what you're actually doing within your business is something that the real estate business lacks. It's unlike any other Fortune 500 enterprise where you're constantly held accountable for everything you do. In real estate, it's all on us. Each of us has our own individual goals and our own individual responsibilities. And if we can have somebody help us on that journey, then it's just a fantastic situation to have. And I think, especially your team, as you continue to build your team, and adding resources such as myself for them to take advantage of, and really help their business, is a great thing. So I'm really looking forward to it. The coaching I've done so far has been successful, and I'm really pleased for those individuals that I've been able to help, and just really look forward to helping others. So
yeah, I know I said that was the last thing I was going to say, but you did hit on something that I want to reiterate, and that is that when I first hired my first coach, and I've never not had a coach since then. It just so happens that my coaches are more expensive now. but she told me, she said, look, if you'll do what I say, you'll triple your goal. Because I had a goal of doing 40 deals a year. She said, why don't we do 100 deals a year? Okay. Now that may not be your goal. If you're watching this, you're like, no way I would ever want that. Maybe you're doing 20, but your goal is 50. But the thing is, she told me, and this is very key for you to understand, She said, "Now," I said, I don't want to do 100 deals a year. That's what I said. She said,
Right.
"Why not?" I said, "I don't want to work that hard." She said, "Trust me, if you do 100 deals a year, you'll work half as much as doing 40 deals a year. Just trust me on that." And I trusted her on that. And she was absolutely right, because the more deals you do, the more leverage you can bring in, okay, to do a lot of the stuff for you, 90% of the work. And actually, when you do more business, you actually have less work when you do it right and do it smart the way we did it. So I appreciate you hitting on that, Hollis. We've got all your contact information right here down below for people to go to your website. You have limited number of slots available. I don't know how many people you could actually take on to coach, but and the other cool thing is, I used to work with a coaching company that would require these long contracts and all this, and you're not even requiring that. You're like, look, if you love the coaching, you'll stick with me, and if you don't, you'll leave, and you're good with that. I think they have maybe a 90-day initial term, and then it just goes month to month. So it's everything you guys want. You've been asking me for one-on-one coaching. You guys know that I charge $5,000 a month for coaching as of this recording, and you can get it for a fraction of that when you hire the guy that ran my business. Mr. Hollis Deen in the house. Thank you, Hollis. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Everything starts with a conversation. I'd love to talk to anyone who's interested in considering coaching, and let's get going. I think the slots will fill up fairly quickly, and so I'd encourage people to not sit around and wait. Let's just have a conversation. Doesn't mean we start tomorrow, but let's start with a conversation.
Love it.
And how to build your business really big for the future.
All right, Hollis. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll catch you on the next one.